Well, I'm just about hacked off today after one of these, or both of them, squashed or broke the neck of one of the babies late morning yesterday when I came out at 4 to give them their feed. I chased them up from their little paddock so they could come in to feed, and as they were all running in front I counted 19. No, that wasn't at 4 o'clock. That was at 8 o'clock when I came out to shut them in to give them their evening feed. At 4 o'clock I chased them up and there was 20 in here, 20 babies, which is correct. One they squashed, that's 21, and one that's in the house, little biggles with a broken hip, is 22, which is right, 11 each. And I came out at half 8, to top up their dishes and to, as I say, give them their evening feed and shut them in. There was only 19. I must have counted 100 times trying to find 20, but all I got was 19. Oh, now you're going to start. Male turkey masturbating. Ridiculous. And she has gone off lay. She's having a fit now. She's gone off lay and she didn't go broody. I don't know what to do with her. So, more problems. It looks like I'm going to be hatching me chicks myself, because I can't abort the eggs now. They're too far on. Well, I wouldn't anyway. So, even with all my protection out in the paddock there, a buzzard has obviously come down, or some bird of prey has come down and taken one. And I'm absolutely hacked off the back teeth, because I come out here on 5, 6, 7 times a day, just check, make sure everybody's okay. Ow! Oh, that was the other thing I did yesterday as well. I stove my brain in on the top door. There, I have that shut. When they've been out here, I had that shut during the day to keep some of the sunshine out of the stable, so it's a bit cooler in there. And I forgot it was there, so I walked straight into it. I just turned around and walked straight into it yesterday. Knocked myself out, which was really clever. I don't know what these things are, but whatever they are, I get them out of the ground. It doesn't much matter now, because the pottle devils aren't coming out until they're an awful lot bigger. But I don't know what that is. If somebody knows what that is, do tell me. But I get them out of the ground and throw them away, because I've got a feeling they're probably poisonous. So now I've come armed with my split in half cooler bags. I'll probably find a use for them elsewhere, but I'm afraid my guineas' lives are... If I fall over that rock again, I'm going to have a fit. Guineas' lives are far more important than keeping a few items cool in transit. So I'm going to put those up, and I'm going to have to let the poor little things out, because No-Tail's being hounded by Broken Shoulder, and the babies, because they have been out, they're going to go stare crazy inside. And probably the reason why it did get picked off yesterday, if it got picked off in here, which I doubt, as I say, because there's no evidence, it's not a feather to be seen. It might have got out and been picked off out there, and there's so much grass lying around, it'd be very difficult to see the odd feather, or even a pile of little feathers. And with the wind we had yesterday and today, they'll disperse fairly quickly anyway. So I think I'm going to need a magnifying glass out here and go through every single blade of grass to see if it was picked off outside the fence. But I think the reason, if it was picked off in here, was because it was a lot cooler yesterday, as I say, 10 to 15 degrees cooler yesterday, in which case they were out in the exposed areas slightly more, digging around and pecking about, because they weren't seeking the shade all the time. They don't tend to seek the shade quite as much as their mums do, but of course if their mums are lying around flaked out with the heat in the shade, they're going to be pecking around the immediate area where their mums are. So they're completely safe, because this is one hell of a big oak tree. That's why I put this little pen here, because I thought they were virtually 100% safe, but I found out otherwise last year, and I found out again otherwise this year. yesterday. But there was a buzzard floating around day before yesterday. He was just up there. Whether he was just circling and just doing his thing or not, I don't know. But he was getting a bit close. And the guineas in the backyard started to shout and scream and carry on. So I came out. I heard the buzzard. I saw where he was. And I stood on the wall there. And it took him some time to realise I was there. But when he did, he took off like a bat out of hell. So I thought, yeah, they are getting a bit close. Yesterday afternoon, the guineas in the backyard screamed twice and had an absolute fit twice. The first time they were at the gate, so I can only assume it was a cat walking past or somebody walking. Or maybe they heard the tractor in the field next door doing the straw, I don't know. But they were having an absolute fit. But they were by the gate, so I didn't think anything of it. I just came and had a listen. I couldn't hear anybody in distress around about the place, other than them making a noise. But then they did start to scream about half an hour after that. Well, there's a hoopoe just flown over there. They're beautiful birds. About half an hour or so later, and they were by the house, right by the side of the house under the kitchen window. And I'm not sure what direction they were looking in. They were sort of, some were looking one way and some were looking the other. But again, I looked out the kitchen window and looked over here, because the kitchen window in relation is about there, over the other side of the barn. So I can see the sky, all the sky from this patch. Thank you. Yeah, great. It's a shame you didn't do that yesterday when someone was picking off my baby pintard, my baby guinea. It wouldn't have hung around for very long if you'd come over yesterday at that precise moment. You'd come over now and frighten the life out of everybody's stupid bloody thing. I had a listen, couldn't hear anything, couldn't see a buzzard. I came out and again looked over here, nothing, saw nothing, heard nothing. So something had spooked them, but I don't know what. I didn't come over here because there was no need to, because there was nothing going on. So perhaps it was something of nothing. But poor old No Towel was acting very distressed yesterday. You can hear the guinea fowl over there. He has anything between 4,000 and 6,000. I'm not quite sure which field they're in. But they make a hell of a row first thing in the morning, last thing at night, and I wouldn't like to be the person that lives near him. But because they were making a row yesterday afternoon as well, when the guineas in the yard were making a noise, so I don't know. But yeah, No Towel last night was quite anxious, quite fractious. She was sort of chasing me around and sort of jumping up and rushing around in circles just before I realised there was one missing. But then I did have the feed bowl in my hand, because I'd obviously picked it up to go and replenish it with food. So whether she was just getting overexcited because of the food aspect or not, I'm not sure, or whether she was trying to tell me that something was desperately wrong and one of the babies had been taken. I don't know, and I never will know. And I never will know what took it either, unless I stay out here all day and watch. And of course the other problem was I wasn't out here as many times yesterday as I generally am. I'm normally out here 6-7 times a day, sort of every hour or so, half hour to every hour, checking everybody and making sure everybody's present and correct, making sure everybody's got food, everybody's got water, because it has been so hot. But yesterday I was busy sorting things out on my computer, so I only came out here 4 times. Maybe that had something to do with it as well, because I didn't need to keep coming out checking, make sure everybody had water and food and the fans were working sufficiently and it was cooling here, as I say, because it was a very pleasant day yesterday. It was very cool yesterday, so I didn't even have the fans going. So it was sort of a combination of unfortunate events, I think. And that's probably why that baby guinea got its neck broken in the nest when they went to lay, both of them, were either together or I doubt they laid her. See, she's hounding her again. She's a pain. Either together or to lay separately, but whatever, they were laying in the same nest, because all the guineas seemed to be cold. Yesterday the lockdown with BH was screaming for most of the day yesterday, and she had to keep squatting so they could get under her to warm up. And this lot, before I put them out, are all huddled in the corners on the nest, and the mums were just sort of standing by them. So although they went out yesterday and they had the sunshine, then obviously when they came in to lay these two, they were still chilly because the stables hadn't quite warmed up sufficiently enough then for them. Because they are heat worshippers, they are sun worshippers. Guineas, there's no doubt about that. Would you leave her alone, broken shoulder? And there was no panting going on from anybody yesterday either, whereas you see today there. So I've got to let them out, they can't stand it. Not only that, it's not going to be healthy for the babies. They've been out, and if I confine them now, they're just going to go down with all sorts of diseases. It's not good. I say, poor old Tail's getting hounded by broken shoulder there. It's not fair. So I've got to try and do something. So I should put me silver bags up and maybe see if I can get my son to make me a scarecrow or two and put them around about the place and see if we can't protect them further. And then if I lose any more, it won't be an aerial predator. I don't think it was a cat because the fence wasn't disturbed underneath, so nothing came underneath the fence to take the guinea, and I don't think anything went over the top because that fence is pretty flimsy, and if something comes over the top, even if it's only a light cat, it will be bent one way or the other, or there'll be some visible sign that it's been interfered with. Well, the fence is as it was and as it has always been. There has been no disturbance on top or below it, so I would say it was an aerial predator. I wouldn't have thought a buzzard could have got through those strings though, but they are very hungry at the moment and they are very thirsty because of the heat. All the small rodents and even the rabbits have all gone to ground. They don't come out until quite late at night. I don't even see any mice in the stables during the day. I might see one or two when I turn the lights off when it's dark, and I've shut everybody in and said goodnight to them all. So these of course will be easy prey, and I think if predator is desperate enough and hungry enough, and I know the buzzards nest over in the trees just over there in the oak trees, and there were 6 floating around this morning up there all circling and shouting and screaming. They weren't hunting, they were just enjoying the thermals. So whether it was 2 adults and 4 babies, or 4 adults and 2 babies, you know, 1 for each pair, I don't know, but they were just there. But then they moved off. And I thought, alright, but I know they nest in there. So it might have been one of them. I'll say if they're that desperate, if their babies are that hungry, and if they've got a lot of mouths to feed, a few strings and a couple of bags isn't going to bother them. If they land on the wall there, then just drop. You know, they're not stupid birds, buzzards, they're very intelligent. But again, there would be feathers floating around in there somewhere. Even if it was only 2 feathers, there would be some obvious sign that it was caught and killed in the pen, plucked a little and then taken away. There always is feathers. No matter what it is it kills a bird, there's always feathers of one amount or another. So, I don't know, it's almost as if the guinea never existed. Just vanished off the face of the earth, and that has really hacked me right off. Well, I've just released them. They both seemed a bit reluctant to come out, but they are out now, as you can see. I think the way forward I should go with these babies while they're still the size they are, which hopefully in a week or 2's time they would have doubled in size, in which case there won't be the threat. What are you doing, Tail? Hey? You're thinking about having a dust bath there? I wouldn't do that, it's a bit concretey. Yes, it is. A bit sharp. There's plenty of places you can dust. But, yeah, I think the way forward until they have doubled in size and will only be possibly picked off by an extremely hungry and determined large buzzard, large adult buzzard, oh shut up, adult buzzard, will be to keep them shut in the mornings if it's going to be cold in the mornings. I say it was really cold last night, really cold first thing this morning, very cool yesterday morning, and everybody was whinging and shouting and screaming, wanting the mums, all the mums, the 3 turkey mums and the chicken mum, you know, crazy hen. Even her 5 little darlings were screaming and whinging at her to lay down so they could get under her. I had no fans on and all the doors remained shut, so there was no drafts coming across the floor to cool them down even further. They certainly didn't need it. It almost looked as if they all needed a heat lamp. It was really cold. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, the weather here at the moment, and it has been for the last 5-6 years. No, plus 47 in the stable the day before, and yesterday I'll say it was probably no more than 22, 23. Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, and a very cold wind. I mean, it was very pleasant outside, but it was very cold in the stables. And so I think that's half the problem. They were out and about more because it was cool, so they were out where the sunshine was, which is the areas where they are most exposed. Mums weren't lying around under the tree in the shade. You really are a pain. You just go away. Go on, get down away from this fence. So they weren't trying to keep warm under the tree. Where, of course, the babies are completely protected because not only are they under the tree, but they're also very close to the mothers. The mothers are lying down under the tree. They're going to lie down with them. So everybody was out and about, pecking around in exposed areas, warming up in the sun. It was very, very pleasant. And the ground and aerial predators were also out because it was pleasant for them to be out. Whereas when it's plus 40 outside and plus 47 in the stables, not that the stables matter because predators don't live in the stables, but number one, when it's really hot, they spend a lot of time in the stables as well as under the tree and under the bushes and hidden away to try and keep out of the sun. And of course the predators, ground or aerial, also seek shade, go to ground or stay in the trees because it's too hot for them to be flying around or running around hunting. It's just too hot. They don't come out until late. So they were protected by the big tree and all the bushes and what have you here, trying to keep out of the sun. And there wasn't much to need protection from anyway because all the predators were also trying to keep out of the sun. So they were out of the way as well. But yesterday, as I say, such a decrease in temperature, literally overnight. The night before was cold too. Yesterday was lovely out in it for me, and it was lovely for them. Very pleasant, but I say a very, very rapid decrease in temperature overnight. They're all out and about and wandering around exposed, and the predators are out and about looking for food because they weren't going to die of heat exhaustion in their efforts of hunting, trying to find food. So it was a combination of events, and I wasn't out here as often as I generally am, as I say, because I was busy on the computer. So, but I've now got my silver things up. I did used to use CDs, but the only trouble with CDs and DVDs, when they've been exposed to very aggressive sunshine and horrendous winds and monsoon type rain, all the silver comes off and it goes everywhere. It's absolutely disgusting. So I don't use CDs anymore. I use just ordinary plastic bags, which I found very effective. And now those two have joined on that. Oh, for heaven's sake. But I say these silver bags, even the turkeys are looking at them. They don't like the look of them either. Especially that one there whipping around like that. If I was an aerial predator, I wouldn't dare think about landing anywhere here. Not with that lot going on. Got the life out of me. But I don't need you doing that, bags. Just, oh, for heaven's sake. It can only happen to me, as I say. I try and do everything in my power to make my animals' lives perfect. Provide them, try to provide them with all the comforts of home. Love them, nurture them. Make sure they're comfortable and have everything they need 24/7. I go without so they can have. You know, I put my life on the line. What on earth is going on there? For my babies and my adults, all my animals. I put my life on the line for them. I try to provide absolutely everything for them. I say, all the comforts from home, everything they should ever want. And life looks at me dead square in the eyes and says, you reckon? Think on. Get out of here. Jog on. It ain't happening. I'm just going to turn around and kick you straight, square in the teeth. And it does every time. So I give up. Yep, they certainly didn't like those silver things flapping. That does look very menacing doing that. I certainly wouldn't attempt to land with that gun. I say, they saw that flapping and you heard the, I don't know if you did hear the noise, I don't know if it picked up. But the babies did their noise that they do when it's a distress call, and oh, let's get the hell out of here. And the turkeys took off up the hill there as if they had lions after them. So if it scares them, and they're used to seeing the bags flapping around, but if it scares them, it'll certainly scare a predator that doesn't know what the hell it is and isn't used to seeing it, like these are. So that's got to be good. Right, to continue with the other chores.